Welcome, Geeky Glasses viewers. I am once again the Ginger Geek, ready to bring you your weekly dose of obscure gaming goodness. On this episode of Obscure Review, we'll be looking at the spectacularly weird Bishi Bashi Special. Now, first things first, I don't really know what to say about Bishi Bashi Special. There's certainly more than a few words that can be said about it, I'm just not sure what they are. The game's just so weird. Released on the PS1 back in 2000, Bishi Bashi Special is actually two games. It's a compilation of the first Bishi Bashi game and its sequel, which were released in Japanese arcades in the 90s and ported to PS1 over there individually, but over here together under this lovely little package. The games take on the form of large minigame compilations, which would be pretty standard stuff if they weren't the most mental games to ever grace a Sony system. The game is just, well, look at it. It's bonkers. The minigames are incredibly varied and some are just outright ridiculous. Obviously, as with all minigame collections, there's some games that are better than others, some that are just skin swaps of the exact same game, but generally the variety is quite strong. There's a single player mode in which you can select the game to play or just bash through them all, but this is one that absolutely has to be played multiplayer to be enjoyed. Technically it supports up to 8 players, but really since all the minigames are only played with 2 people, the 8 player claim is kind of just in reference to the game's hot seat features, where players will swap controllers when more than 2 are involved in a minigame tournament. This doesn't take away from how fun the multiplayer is, however, so it's a minor complaint, but when the game advertises 8 players, you kind of expect it to be 8 players, even if it is on PS1. There's kind of not a lot more to say about the game besides that, other than it's just worth playing. It's a party game, and a fun one at that. It's got a real crazy sense of humour, and the main joy of it comes from just seeing how ridiculous it gets with a couple of mates. The minigames are frantic and mostly joyous, with only a couple of stinkers lurking in amongst them. Like, since when, for example, has typing in a word high score style qualified as a game? I'll be damned if I didn't try my hardest to do it quicker than anyone else did though. One thing I did actually like that I could argue is a consistent mechanic is that the game uses button positioning and colour in a lot of its minigames, and this gives them a level of consistency. For example, one sequence sees players battling as a dragon, and tasks you with pressing the colour of the tank below you to blow it up. So, square would be purple, X would be blue, circle red, that kind of thing. And this same mechanic carries over into a game that sees you jumping sharks in sequence. The two games both feel different enough from each other that they don't just come across as reskins of the same task, but the reusing of the same mechanic makes the player comfortable going into it. To come to a rather abrupt end, there's really not much more I can say about Bishi Bashi Special. Just that it's a really unusual little collection of minigames, and despite its obscurity, it's absolutely worth checking out. But I must stress that to really get the joy, you want to be playing it with friends, because the computer makes for one dull opponent. Well, that'll be it guys for this week's Obscure Review. Remember to like and subscribe if you like what we are doing and want to see more. Feel free to also comment with suggestions. Thanks again. Oh guys, sorry if this review feels a little rushed by the way. We kinda just Bishi Bashied it out.